Hello and welcome back to Dandelion Diaries. I have a very exciting ink swatch video today. Lovely pen friend Lisa provided these 7 ink samples today from Birmingham Pen Company. So I'm going to be swatching them out on the new Sanzen Tomoe River paper. This is a notebook by Sterling Ink. And as for the rest of the supplies I will be using today, I'm going to be using my 𝗟𝘃𝗁𝗁 dip pen just because it has the fude nib and I can do various sizes in writing. I have my little pipette. I will be using my little acrylic stamp block. I have a t-shirt over here that I've been using as a rag or towel, if you will, and then a couple of jars of water, even though I think I'm only really going to need one because we only have 7 samples. But we'll see, because you never know with the Birmingham Pen Company inks, they turn that, antifreeze color in the water sometimes. But I'm going to go ahead and get started with the very first sample she sent me, and this one is Quantum Teal. And holy cow, this one is a sheener. So I have not swatched any of these before this video. I actually own a bottle of the last ink. That's the only one I've ever seen before in this little group she sent me. So this will be my first impression of these inks. So I'm not sure how they behave in pens or anything like that, but if it's true to the Birmingham Pen Company inks I have used and loved, I'm sure all of these will be winners. Anyways, Quantum Teal is high red sheen for sure. It's like a deep, almost purpley red though. It's not bright red. The base of this is definitely a dark teal, almost like a teal black in some areas. I'll wait till it dries to fully compare, I guess, total overall color, because right now all of the writing is sheening and very little bits of teal is popping through. So we'll see how this one turns out in the end. But so far I'm really a fan. The next sample she sent me is called Ice Rink, and this one is a lovely deep jewel-toned blue. I really want to compare this to one of the other ones I have, which is called Celestial Blue. I think that one might be a little bit more blurple, but I really love the depth of this, and as this is drying while I'm talking, I can already see little bits of shading popping through in the thicker line of the writing. So it has almost a deeper blue shading to a lighter blue shading, but not so light that it looks washed out. Very nice blue. I think this would be a great standard blue color, everyday blue color to write with if you really like writing with blue ink. I personally don't write with blue that often, but I really like this one in terms of the shading that it's offering right now. Next up we have Jade Inferno, and so far this is my favorite out of the 3 I've swatched. Oh my goodness, the color of this is, I don't know, it's almost emerald in some areas, but it's still quite blue. I don't know, it's definitely teal. Teal is like the overall color I would put this category, like put in a category of, but like the color has a bit of a greenness and a little bit of a blueness. I don't know which one it leans more towards. I think it's going to lean a little bit more towards the green side once it's totally dry, but it's already starting to show little bits of red sheen on it as well, and I'm really here for that. That looks really nice. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the purple Diamond Ink Fence Velvet Emerald color. I don't know, I kind of want to compare the 2 of those now too, geez. But this one's a really lovely shade of teal, very, very nice. And next up we have Lichen Watermark, and this is a lovely green gray. Oh my goodness. Okay, I changed my mind. This is my new favorite. If you've been on this channel for a minute, you will know that green inks are pretty much a staple for me, but green grays just have a really soft spot for me, or like green olivey colors, and I really like this one. It reminds me a lot of Waringel's Mad Hatter, but more gray, and I'm interested to see if this one does any fun shading, because if I remember correctly, when I was making my very first Birmingham Pen Company order, this was one that was on my wish list, but I went with Oak Moss instead, and Oak Moss has a little bit of shade from like a brown to green gray, and I wonder if this one's more of like a green to green gray. I don't know, but I'm really interested to see how this one dries down. But so far what I'm seeing, it's lovely, and I definitely want more of this sample. Next up we have Burlywood. And I feel like this is a really nice yellow orangey toned brown. It's definitely, I don't know, I feel like it's a little bit more yellow right now looking at it. It's already starting to sheen a little bit too, but I can't really tell what color the sheen is. it almost looks green, but it almost looks black as well. So again, we'll wait on that until it's totally dry to really confirm the sheen aspect. But it does have shading. The little bit of writing that I did has already shaded. It's already dried down, which is a good sign from my perspective that this ink already dried. And I've noticed that a lot on actually this Sanzen paper, is that inks dry much quicker than on the original Tomoe River paper, the 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗏 River paper. So take that what you will. I kind of like sometimes when it's a little bit wetter because I feel like it pulls out more of the properties of the ink, but I'm not mad at it so far. This paper's been doing all right. But back to this ink, it is a lovely, nice yellow toned brown with some gorgeous shading. And consistency wise, I feel like it's about the same as the rest of these, but it felt a little bit drier. But I don't know if that's because of the sheen. So I don't know. This one just didn't feel the same wetness, like same lubrication as the other ones I've already swatched. Next up, we have an ink called Rhubarb. And if there was such thing as a dusty red, I feel like this encapsulates that. It's definitely a dusty red. It has almost a washed out appearance, but it's still pretty vibrant, pretty saturated. I don't know. This one's very unique. I don't think I've tried a red ink quite like this one. It does have a bit of a pinkness to it, which is true to actual rhubarb. If you've ever grown the plant or eaten a rhubarb pie or a rhubarb tart or anything like that, it's basically like red celery if you've never seen what a rhubarb looks like. And I'd say this is pretty much dead on what the color is if you were to like cook rhubarb down and make a pie with it. I really like the color. It is starting to shade as well in front of me, which is really nice to see that we're getting a bit more of a saturated to washed out look. I personally really like that, where it's kind of light and dark in writing. I think it looks really fabulous when there's like a full page of that. It makes it very dynamic to look at. But I'm really happy with this red. I don't think I have another red quite like this one. And the last ink I have here is Canterbury Raisin, which I do have a full bottle of this, but I have not swatched it on the new Sanzen Tomoe River paper. So we're going to see if this behaves the same as the first time I swatched it, or if we're going to see any differences. And so far it's looking very similar to the original swatch, but I feel like it's a bit more pink on this paper. I'm going to wait till it fully dries to make my final conclusions, but I remember when I first swatched this on the original Tomoe River paper, it had more of a purple, like main base color being purple with some pink shading. So I wonder if this is more pink because it's drying faster, so the shade's coming out faster. I don't know, but I'm still happy with this color. I really like the almost magenta look to it, but it's still pretty firmly in the purple category on the Tomoe River paper. So I'm wondering if this will be more on the pink category on the new Sanzen paper. So we'll see fully once it's totally dry. Okay, I'm gonna let these finish drying down all the rest of the way. This page is pretty much fully dry, so I'll be back probably in about 15-20 minutes. For you, it'll just be like a second, and then we'll do some close-ups, and I will talk a little bit more about like what I'm seeing in the writing, but I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, I am back. Let me zoom in. We'll do some close-ups, and then I went ahead and pulled my notebook out that had the original swatch of the Canterbury Raisin on the OG Tomoe River paper. So I'll compare those two when we get to that point, but let me zoom in really quick. So starting off, we had Quantum Teal, and oh my goodness, hello Sheen. It is a red sheen, but it almost has a purpleness to it. It's very pretty. It's not super vibrant. It's still pretty, I don't know. It has like a sheen, but not like in your face sheen. You can kind of see the tiny bit of teal popping through here. In the writing, everything sheen. So I can't really tell you exactly what the base color is other than from this tiny little spot, which shows that it is a very dark teal color. It's really pretty. I would be interested to see if in a fountain pen, the base color would come through a little bit more than the sheen, like the Tesla coil that Birmingham Pen Company does. But I really like that the sheen isn't super bright and in your face, because sometimes when red sheen is just really, sheening, it makes it a little bit difficult to read your page after you've finished writing. Then we have Ice Rink, a lovely, lovely jewel toned blue. I think cobalt blue even is a good name for this one. It has a very minor red sheen going on with it, but nothing so substantial that it's popping out like crazy like the Quantum Teal. I like that the shading goes from a bit more of a vibrant dark blue to a almost cerulean dark blue, or a cerulean light blue, but it's still really nice. I think this would be really great as an everyday blue writer. I think I have other blues that are really close to this though. Like I really want to test this next to the Celestial blue, and I also want to test this next to even like the standard Pilot blue that comes with most of your higher end Pilot pens. Then we have Jade Inferno. Oh my goodness, I am so happy with this one. It is a lovely emeraldy teal color. It definitely leans a bit more green than blue. It has this red sheen going on that's much like the Quantum Teals, that's a bit deeper. It's not as bright, and it's absolutely stunning with the little bits of shading as well. So you can see here in the bigger writing, the darker to lighter. Absolutely love that. And then there's tiny bits of sheen that are haloing around some of those letters, and also tiny bits of sheen coming in through the dip pen writing right here. Really, really pretty color. I still want to compare this one to the Velvet Emerald from Diamine too, but I'm gonna have to make a bigger swatch to compare at this level. Then we had Lichen Watermark. I love it. This is right up my alley when it comes to colors I write with on the regular. Really, really happy with this color. It did not shade as much as I thought it was going to though. It is definitely a gray green. It reminds me a lot of Waringel's Mad Hatter. Really nice. I feel like it's just missing something. Like there's just some aspect that is not quite there for me on this one, but I really like the shade, and I really like that it's almost a muted gray green. It's really pretty. Then we had Burlywood, and it did sheen, so it has this like greenish, almost green black sheen. On camera it's coming across really green, and in person it has a bit more of a blackness to it. I really like it though. I feel like brown inks with green sheen are just a happy place for me. It reminds me a lot of Pilot Iroshizuku's 𝗬𝗫, which you can't get anymore, but this color is a little bit too warm to be really a 𝗬𝗫 dupe. It has a bit more of a yellow base to it, but the shading within the bigger writing is really nice. None of that sheen really popped through on the smaller writing. It only came through on this B where a lot of the initial ink was laid down. So I don't know how strong the sheen would be in writing. We'll have to give that a good test in a full page some point. Then we have Rhubarb, which I actually feel like this is my favorite out of the group, which is new for me. I'm not usually a red ink writer. I find like it reminds me a lot of like corrections in grade school where the teacher would give you back your paper and it would just be marked red everywhere because you got so much wrong. But the color of this is nice. It's muted, it's a little bit dusty. In the swatch you can see kind of a grayness going on with it, and in the writing I love that it goes from this kind of more saturated, like deeper pink red to this lighter, more watermelony pink red. It's really pretty. I think this would look really nice in a full page of writing, very soft, not so red in your face that it's like hurting you in a way, but it's a really nice red. I really like this one. And then lastly, we left off with Canterbury Raisin. This dried much more purple than initially swatching. So initial swatching, it was very pink, and now it has dried and it's definitely more of a purpley color with the pink shading, which is exactly what happened with the original Tomoe River paper. And on that note, let me grab it really quick. So here is the original swatch that I did of the Canterbury Raisin, how it's very purple. So if we were to put them side by side, you can see how on the new Sanzen paper it's coming across a lot more pink and a lot more shaded, and then on the original paper it's actually a lot more purple and less shaded. This could also be due to the amount of ink laying down factor and different kind of tools used, anything like that, but it's just very interesting to see that it's the same ink and how different they look on different papers. And while I'm here, I also have Celestial Blue right next to this. So Celestial Blue is definitely a bit more blurple in person. On camera, they look very similar, but the Celestial Blue, which is, can I do this without dropping anything? This one is definitely a bit more purple in person compared to the Ice Rink on the other page. Very, very nice. And then I don't know, I still feel like the Rhubarb is my favorite so far of these group here. And actually, just because I have it on the page here, here's oak moss. I know this wasn't meant to be like all of these compared, but oak moss compared to lichen are very, very different. So I was wrong. Oak moss is definitely more of a brown green gray, and then lichen watermark is definitely more of a actual green gray. All in all, I'm really happy with these. Lisa, if you watch this video, thank you so much for sending these my way. I am definitely going to play a lot more with the rhubarb and the lichen, considering I think these two are my top two out of the group you sent me. Although Jade Inferno is definitely just a beautiful bright teal, this would be perfect for summer, so maybe I'll include this in my next year when I do summer inking again. But I'm really, really happy with this group. In general, if you have any questions about any of these inks, please let me know down in the comments. I can try to answer if they compare to anything that I have swatched before. Just let me know. I know that Birmingham Pen Company is a bit hard to find, especially if you're not in the States, so I try to do my best to give examples of dupes where I can. But anyways, I want to thank you so much for watching, for joining me here today, for hanging out with some ink swatches. I hope to see you guys in the next one, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.